Next part is nervous system of man. As already explained, it is made up of neurons. What do you mean by neuron? Neurons are structural and functional unit of the nervous system, of the nervous tissue. We have studied before, neurons consist of two main parts, cyton, which is also called as cell body, and its second part is processes, which includes axon and dendron. We'll see the diagram of neuron once again so that ideas will be clear for you. See, this is diagram for neuron. You can see that this is the cell body called as cyton. These are smaller processes called as dendrites, and this one is called as long process called as axon. In nervous system, at some places, this cyton or the cell body are get aggregated. Where there is aggregation of cyton or the nerve cells is there, grouping of only cyton part looks grey in color, and that is called as grey matter. In some parts, this medullated nerve fiber, this myelinated nerve fibers from their grouping, their bundles. So the part where aggregation of this nerve cells, myelinated nerve fiber takes place, looks white in color, and that is called as white matter. Now you have to keep in mind what is the meaning of grey matter and what's the meaning of white matter. It will not be explained again. So once again, aggregation of cyton looks grey in color, becomes grey matter. Aggregation or grouping of myelinated nerve fiber looks white in color, and that will become white matter. We have seen that when in white matter this aggregation of cyton it is visible, that is called as basal nuclei. So this is for the idea for white matter and grey matter. Now we will go once again towards the human nervous system. This human nervous system, as I said, is made up of nervous tissue, where we have seen about the grey matter and white matter. Now we will see about human nervous system. It is divided into three parts: central nervous system, that is CNS. Second is peripheral nervous system, which is called as PNS, and the third one is autonomous nervous system, which is also called as ANS. So there are three divisions of nervous system of man. We'll start with the first one, that is central nervous system. This central nervous system includes two parts, brain and spinal cord. We are going to start with brain. First of all, its position. It lies in cranium, which is also called as brain box. Where is the cranium found? Cranium is found in skull region, and I think you remember that skull consists of two parts, which is called as cranium. One is the part called as cranium where the brain lies, and second part is the facial bones forming the face. Now we have to see about external structure of this brain. Remember that in the brain, in the skull region, where the brain lies becomes cranium, and this cranium is the bony part. Inner to cranium there will be presence of three membrane: outer dura mater, middle arachnoid layer, and innermost is the pia mater. What are their characteristic feature? Outermost dura mater, which is there, it is tough and non-vascular. Middle layer is called as arachnoid layer, which is thin and non-vascular. Innermost is the pia mater, which is highly vascular. We will see this structure diagrammatically. See this diagram, I think clearly visible to you. What is seen in the diagram? Now you can see here, this is the outermost structure, outermost part called as skull cap, That means this is the part which is made up of bones. This is the part of brain. As we have seen, brain lies inside the cranium. So this outermost one, this outermost is for the cranium, that is the bony part. This is the part of brain. So inner to cranium and outer to brain, presence of three layers. These three are the meninges which surrounds the brain. What is the name of these meninges and what are their functions? You can see that outermost meninx is called as dura mater. Dura mater is the outermost membrane which is tough, which is protective. This one. It is tough and protective layer. Second layer is called as arachnoid layer, which is thin layer, and innermost is called as pia mater, which is also a thin layer. Okay, so these are the three layers: dura mater, arachnoid layer, and pia mater. In between these layers, you can see the cavities are present here. Below the dura mater, this yellow color is dura mater, and below dura mater there will be presence of cavity which is called as subdural cavity. Here it is subdural cavity. This green colored layer is shown which is called as arachnoid layer. Below the arachnoid layer there is a cavity called as subarachnoidal cavity. So three meninges are there, and in between three meninges two cavities are there which are called as subdural. Remember that below the dura mater cavity becomes subdural. Below the arachnoid layer cavity present called as subarachnoidal cavities, and these cavities are filled with a fluid which is called as cerebrospinal fluid. What is the importance of this cerebrospinal fluid and this meninges? These meninges, they provide protection to the brain, as they are present inner to cranium. Cranium is the outermost covering, this one, which is a tough one, providing protection. Still, for extra protection, these three meninges with cerebrospinal fluid is present. So what is this CSF or cerebrospinal fluid? Remember that it is a lymph-like fluid. Then this lymph-like fluid, what is its function? It acts as shock absorber. Point number one for the importance of CSF. It acts as shock absorber, thus protect the brain and spinal cord. Secondly, it maintains constant pressure inside the cranium. Thirdly, it helps in exchange of nutrient and waste between blood and brain tissue. And it helps in supply of oxygen to the brain. One more important function is there. It protects the brain from desiccation. That means providing, we can say, moisture to the brain also. So this importance of cerebrospinal fluid can be asked for 2 marks. Note on the meninges which are present exterior to brain can also be asked for 2 marks. This meninges along with their function can be asked under match the following. So many type of questions can be asked on this part. You have to remember some features for CSF also. Remember that CSF is a alkaline fluid and total amount of CSF is about 100 to 120 cc cubic centimeter of cerebrospinal fluid is present in and around the central nervous system. Okay, so this is about the exterior of brain, or we can say external structure of the brain. After this external structure of the brain, we have to see its internal structure. What is seen in the internal structure of brain? Before that, this is about the CSF, that is lymph-like extracellular fluid, which is explained already. Now we'll see this is importance or significance of CSF and meninges can be asked for 2 marks. Now we are going to study about brain, its internal structure. See, this brain is classified into three parts. Forebrain, also called as prosencephalon. Second, midbrain, also called as mesencephalon. And third part is hindbrain, also called as rhombencephalon. Okay, now one by one we will see the details. In forebrain or in prosencephalon, three parts are there. Olfactory lobes, also called as renencephalon. Second part, cerebrum, also called as telencephalon. Third part, diencephalon, which consists of epithalamus, thalamus and hypothalamus. We'll see midbrain, scientific term mesencephalon, consisting of crura cerebri and corpora quadrigemina. Third part, hindbrain, also called as rhombencephalon, which includes metencephalon with cerebrum and pons veruli. And second part of the hindbrain is myelencephalon, which includes medulla oblongata. So all these are the parts of brain. You have to remember all the terms properly and the classification of different parts of the brain. So these parts of brain or the central nervous system, one more diagram is available so that you can see the part of central nervous system. I will show you the diagram. See this diagram, it is for central nervous system. What I said, this central nervous system, it involves brain and its second part as spinal cord. So where the brain lies in the cranium. So this upper part of the head region becomes cranium where the brain lies. And this is second part which is called as spinal cord. It lies into the vertebral column. Okay, so brain and spinal cord, it constitute central nervous system. We have studied about external structure of brain. That means externally brain is covered with this cranium. Inner to cranium there will be three meninges, outer dura, middle arachnoid and innermost pia membrane with two cavities in between. We have studied that. We have studied about internal structure of brain. Internally brain is divided into three parts, forebrain, midbrain and hindbrain. We have to see the details of this different parts of the brain through different diagrams. So what are this part of the diagrams? I will show you here. See, these are the four diagrams showing different views of the brain. Why this diagram should be seen, and for proper understanding of the different parts of the brain, these diagrams we have to observe. See, this is the diagram. We have to see this diagram first. This is the diagram of the brain which is observed from the top. That means you have to see our head from the top region. From the top, this brain, it shows these two parts. These two parts are called as two cerebral hemispheres. And these two cerebral hemispheres are divided or separated from each other by this central line. This central line is called as longitudinal fissure. Remember that this is longitudinal fissure, and fissure means the depression. So, from the top view, from the dorsal side, forebrain, its first part, that is cerebrum, consists of these two cerebral hemispheres separated from each other with the help of this longitudinal fissure. So this part is cerebral hemisphere and this is second cerebral hemisphere. Now if we are going to see the lateral side, that means the brain or our head from one side. From one side only this part, or this part can be visible. So if you are going to see this from one part, from one side, from the lateral side, it shows 4 lobes. That means we can say that cerebral hemisphere, each cerebral hemisphere consists of 4 lobes, and these 4 lobes are, this is frontal lobe present in the region of forehead. So this is blue colored frontal lobe is there. This upper one is called as parietal lobe. This much is for frontal lobe, bigger one. At the top you can see this parietal lobe. This is occipital lobe, and this is called as temporal lobe. So this is front, present in the region of forehead. Parietal lobe at the top, occipital lobe at the back, and temporal lobe are present laterally towards up to the upper side of and around the ear. Okay, so this is for 4 lobes which are seen in the region of each cerebral hemisphere. These 4 lobes of each hemisphere can be seen in other diagrams also very clearly. See, this is the diagram showing 4 lobes of what? Of one cerebral hemisphere. Frontal lobe, which is seen in the region of forehead. Parietal lobe, which is seen at the top of the head. Occipital lobe seen at the back, and this temporal lobe around the ear. Okay, so these are the 4 lobes of one cerebral hemisphere. What we are studying? We are studying about the forebrain. Once again, I will show you the theoretical part. See, this is brain, forebrain with 3 parts. What we have seen just now? Cerebrum. Only one part is seen, cerebrum, having 2 cerebral hemispheres, and each hemisphere consists of 4 lobes: frontal, parietal, temporal, and occipital lobe. We are going to see olfactory lobe now, and after this olfactory lobe we have to see diencephalon with epithalamus, thalamus, and hypothalamus. So again we'll see the diagrams. Now see, these are the diagrams. This is for the top view or dorsal view. This is lateral view. Top view shows cerebrum with 2 hemispheres, and this lateral view shows 4 lobes of one hemisphere. Now we are going to see this one. This diagram is for ventral view. Here it is inferior is said, but it is also called as ventral view. That means we have to observe our brain from the lower part, from the lower side. What it shows, you can see here these olfactory bulbs are there, this one, this and this 2. So you can see these olfactory lobes are seen only towards the ventral side, which are poorly developed in case of human being, and they are also concerned with sense of smell. These olfactory lobes are concerned with sense of smell. Remember that ventrally present, and they are concerned with sense of smell. Some other areas are there for sense of smell in the brain. Now if we want to see the diencephalon with epithalamus, thalamus, and hypothalamus, we have to take its longitudinal section. What is the meaning of longitudinal section? We have to cut this brain vertically. This diagram is there. So if we cut this brain vertically, it starts showing this type of structure. It starts showing this structure. This is the longitudinal section. So if you see the longitudinal section, you can see this upper part, which is made up of grey matter. That means what? Grey matter means cytone. This inner part is made up of white matter, which is the mediated nerve fiber. In this region, you can see this cavity-like structure. This is actually called as corpora strata. So this diagram here, this is seen. Actually, this much part is about the diencephalon. So we can say that roof of diencephalon, this part means epithalamus. This floor of the diencephalon is called as hypothalamus, and these lateral sides are called as epithalamus. So in vertical section, Inside here, this part is for diencephalon. Floor of the diencephalon is hypothalamus. Roof is epithalamus and its lateral side becomes the thalamus region. Okay, so this is for only the forebrain, which is visible from where? For understanding of forebrain, we have to see its top view, dorsal view. This is lateral view. This is ventral view, and this is the sagittal section, that means longitudinal section of the brain. So the first part, that is cerebrum, is explained here. Second part is called as midbrain, which includes two parts, corpora quadrigemina and crura cerebri, where it is visible. This corpora quadrigemina and crura cerebri, if you want to see, we have to see another diagram. See, for corpora quadrigemina and for crura cerebri, only corpora quadrigemina is visible here, not crura cerebri. Here in this diagram, this much part, it is related with the midbrain, where corpora quadrigemina is seen. For crura cerebri, diagrammatically it is not seen. And if you want to see the parts of hindbrain, then this hindbrain, it shows this region. This is the pons varolii, this is medulla oblongata, together called as brain stem, and the third part of the hindbrain is called as cerebellum. So this is cerebellum, this is medulla oblongata, and in front of the cerebrum you can see pons varolii. So these three parts together constitute what? It constitute hindbrain. This upper region, it constitute, starting from this to this all, it constitute forebrain. And for the midbrain, only this much is the part which constitute midbrain. Okay, so in short, these parts of the brain are explained. Details will be explained in the next lecture.